Hi guys, how's it going? 2 years in on this stupid newbie narrowboat restoration project. What a blimmin' nightmare. In the last episode we started the process of treating and insulating our dreaded bow thruster area. Yeah, we finally worked out the reason why this bloody mess that we found 2 days after purchasing the narrowboat actually came from a condensation issue in the bow thruster area. So time to get a decondensationing? Probably the tiniest and hardest place on the narrowboat to get into. We used a rust converter called Aquasteel and I moaned.
I've had to sit here listening to Chris moan.
How am I going to get down there? Oh, there's a spider web down there. Oh god, this is impossible. It is impossible. So I got Bex in there and she didn't moan. Win-win, and she'd done a cracking job at it too. Today we're going to add a coat of bitumen. I mean, this stuff is blimmin' messy, guys. And then a little bit later in the episode, Becca's going to let you into a little secret hack on how we're going to insulate this area and stop it from ever condensating again. Right, let's get her back down in the bow thruster area. Can you see her through the window fishing out the old bitumen?
So it's day 2 in the bow thruster area. We've aquasteeled it in there, so now, fun times ahead, we've got a bitumen it in there.
That blimmin' bitumen. We've never used bitumen before, have we?
See how we're emphasising the bitch part of
Bitumen.
the bitumen.
So our narrowboat here, the Whistling Wombat, was born in roughly 1990. When we purchased her 2 years ago, we found some bits and bobs on there. This was one of those bits and bobs. It was the rust-resistant bitumen's paint. There's a good chance it could be that old too. But the irony of the fact that the tin has actually gone rusty. That's a good start for your old rust-resisting bitumens. So here is the whole of that horrible little condensating cell which leads to the bow thruster. The bow thruster provides lateral thrust, making the boat far easier and more manoeuvrable at the front. So this tube down here has a couple of propellers in it that help the boat move left to right in sort of trickier situations. Our one's broken, surprise, surprise, but because it has the flow of the river running right through it, it's just triggered this huge condensation issue. So it's already looking a hell of a lot better in here, and the rust converter is completely dry, so we're going to prepare for the bitumen now. This thing in the middle here, the weed hatch for the bow thruster, it's right in the way when you're trying to go in there. That's where all the complaining starts on this bad boy, because you literally put your arms in and you can't move your body. Bex doesn't seem to have a problem. You loved it in there, didn't you?
I wouldn't say I loved it in there, no, but I'm just not a moaner like some. Just get on with it.
The girl's cocky. She's ready for her bitumen. Gloves at the ready. Also knee pads. Gloves and knee pads essential. You got your stick?
To make an extra long handled brush makes it a bit easier.
The queen of the long handled brush. Yeah, it's a nightmare to try and get your hand in here, so Bex has come up with a clever little contraption. Again, not now only a fully qualified plumber, fully qualified gas engineer. She is now a fully qualified long stick thing with a brush thing on the end with tape. Queen person. What we're using this time is the bad boy of masks. You need a proper mask if you're going into a little area like this with bitumen paint. So we got this bad boy here. You're no good putting on the little fabric thing for dust. And these little pods on the end should hopefully keep the chemicals out of your lungs. I mean, look at it. There's quite a lot in there. I always say Aquasteel is every narrowboater's best friend, but bitumen is probably the big boy, isn't it? The daddy. If you're a narrowboater, you're going to hear about bitumen at some point, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. You find it on your bottom.
Is that what they put on the hull when they blacked it? Is it the bitumen? Oh right, yeah, so obviously every narrowboater knows what it is. But people do use it, they used to use it in the water tank to paint in there, but we have read up that it's not great for that because of the chemicals. stops it being potable. Is that correct, Rebecca?
I think so, yeah. You could at one point get bitumen paint that was meant to be potable, but then since it's been discontinued because I think more research showed perhaps it's not, or something like that, but don't quote me on that.
We're not experts. Don't listen to our advice. Bloody hell, we haven't even got going yet. 2 years and we don't know, do we? I mean, it is going to be a bit of a problem putting that on my head in such a small space down there, because the brain's so large, isn't it? I mean, what am I? Hard enough getting it in last time, but within this last week the brain has increased horrifically in size. The cerebral cortex of the crown has increased in size.
You look terrified by your own words when you were just saying that. The cerebral cortex.
I'll see if I can get the crown in. And guess who turned up at pretty much the worst time?
Paint, I'm worried about it.
Oh god, she's gonna get in the bitumen. It's not food. Can you stroke a duck without it biting you? Hey, don't bite me. Let me get you some food. I swear she just thinks I'm food. Like literally, sometimes she just bites into my toe. The expert is very neat and tidy. We'll be putting a stop to that very soon. Watch how very precise and delicate the boss is. Every stroke met with precision. So the guys in the boat next to us said that they had actually stroked Sopran Ella the other day. This made me very jealous. So we're having a little strokey. Can you stroke them? If you see here, there's 3 white swans. The one on the far left is actually their old previous baby that hasn't sort of left and fled the nest yet. And he keeps coming to try and feed with the cygnets. Yes, thanks for that, guys. I knew it was a cygnet all along. Bex has done her stint. Now it's time for the incredible adventures of Mr. Moany Man. How long will he last before he complains?
10 seconds.
It always looks like it's sort of going to be an alright job, but I'm already moaning, aren't I? It's awful, it's bad. Got my knee pads on. Oh. Let the mess begin. Easy, easy! Okay, so we'll come back to that in a minute. I want to take you back just a couple of days when we were working on our bathroom, and I promise you this will all tie in with what happens at the end of the episode. Becca had proudly brought us this little cabinet on the right here, which is slightly too big, and I had a little bit of fun with her. Completely rejiggle the structure of the Whistling Wombat just for this little chest of drawers. Oh, I mean, I feel a little bit guilty now, guys, because Becca actually started looking at smaller units. I didn't really know that until I got it out here and asked her. My new bathroom cabinet.
Started to wonder if it might be worth having a look for a slightly smaller bit of furniture to go in there, and I came across this on Facebook Marketplace. We're going to give it a try, see if it works a bit better.
This isn't because of what I said, was it?
Yes.
Got new neighbours. Viewers from the vlog, especially wanting to get the spot to be next to Crobot. Dangerous move. It's not going to be, is it? Yeah, there are never viewers from the vlog, guys. It's my ongoing little joke to myself that everyone must watch our vlogs. So let's get this little bad boy in and see how it fares compared to that humongous one that Bex had brought us. God, I'm horrible. It was really nice, the humongous one. Just a little bit big maybe, and you're already in a tiny space, aren't you? This, if you remember, is our mighty sink. Love the sink, Bex. Compliments given when deserved. I'm strict but fair. So back here in the bathroom you can see the original humongous set of drawers. I've got to give it a break now. I've got to give it a rest, haven't I? I'm going to tear this piece of crap out straight back onto the scrap heap. I'm awful. Stop! And I'm going to pop the little baby one in and we'll see if it gets my approval. It's like the Antiques Roadshow. Here she is in all her glory. Yeah, we're not too sure actually. And, as it turned out, it didn't get my approval. It didn't really get either of our approval. We tried it this way around too. Bex, back to the drawing board. And yeah, she actually came up with something really, really clever. So stick around for that later in the episode. Okay, back to today's challenge of the bow thruster and my personal favourite. Enter the roller nose. Very delicately placing the roller nose. I whack it. You ready to roll a nose?
Ready to roll a nose.
Go on, put it on then. Good, now get down there.
It's come to light that one of us is a really clean worker and one of us isn't. Take a guess. I did my little corner sections, came away, it was all nice and sort of clean and everything, and then Chris had a go. There is paint literally everywhere. I don't know, it's like a whirlwind has been in here. It's just sploshed everywhere.
Number one, cocky. Number two, I'm a man. I mean, men are messy.
Don't I know it. Jesus. See, look, I knelt down just after Chris had finished.
Who's moaning now? Hey? Little hack, if you get bitumen on you, just use a little drop of olive oil. Chrissy Crobot tip of the day, and that gets it off all nice and lovely without getting any nasty chemicals on your skin.
I just told him that.
Take your roller nose.
Get in!
I'm in. This time I want to see the head going.
Extreme painting with Crobot.
Full torso in this time, Rebecca. The gentle touch of the lady. And the messy touch of the horrible little grumpy man. I mean, it's getting pretty blimmin' messy in here now, isn't it? I honestly do not know how you can do it non-messy. It's going all over these leads and stuff. What a mess. I mean, if you admit it, you're allowed to do it, aren't you? So, they're the rules. God, what a job, guys, what a job. But we've done it, I think. We've got there. No moaning either, I don't think, was there? Weren't a great deal of moaning. Just got on with it. It's probably hard to tell because it's all black, isn't it? All black. Getting behind this thing here. That was hard. Well, I don't know actually, Beck's done it. But it's hard to navigate around it. How do you think it went?
I think it went really well. It's really good to have such an enormous job ticked off the list, and actually I think that's probably the hardest job in the boat, just in terms of how difficult the access is to it. I think it's hard in the water tank.
Oh, definitely. It's the hardest job we've done.
Actually, the physical space that we had to paint isn't that much. It's just the access. You've got, like, you know, your bow thruster tube, you've got the weed hatch thing, you've only got a hatch about this big to get in, then you've got the motor like obscuring half of that, so you're sort of like this.
So what do you reckon is next for the bow thrusteral area, Bex?
Insulation. So once that bitumen's all nice and dry, we'll get some insulation in there, and that should hopefully correct the condensation problem. What we were originally going to do was use a spray foam, but I'm slightly apprehensive about doing that at the moment, just because once it's in, it's hard to get out again. Some people just use like the foam mats, like the exercise type mats. So we might do that initially just to see how it fares basically, and then we can also always look at different insulation in the future.
And then the biggie, finally going to get our little vent on there too, or maybe a couple of vents like either side.
So we'll have one vent higher up and one vent lower down, and then in theory that should help the airflow sort of circulate round in there and stop what was happening.
So we obviously had a little bit of water getting in when we didn't have the cratch cover up there, but the big main bulk part of this whole story and the whole refit and all that water under the bilges is all due to condensation, isn't it really? That's mental, isn't it?
Honestly guys, you would not believe how much moisture can gather up just from condensation alone. I wouldn't have believed it, but we've seen it with our own eyes. Anyone out there who may be having a bow thruster fitted into their boat, for the love of God, make sure the compartment that it's in is properly painted and insulated, because it will cause you no end of problems in the future. Honestly, since finding out that this is the issue with ours, read up so much about it, and there's so many other people having exactly the same problem. So just paint it whilst you've got access to it.
Because obviously you've got the running water from the cold river going through the tube, and then you've got the log burner there as well. So the two together is just creating this huge condensation issue down there.
And thirdly, you have the ambient temperature just in the compartment itself, so you actually have 3 heat exchangers.
So that's it for the bow thruster. As you know, at the beginning of the episode, there was all this sort of thing in the bathroom with trying to work out what cabinet fits, and the smaller one was too small, the bigger one was too big. But while I was in the bow thrusteral area, Beck snipped out and she got up to something, didn't you?
I did indeed.
Let's have a look.
We had 2 cabinets, one that was just a bit too big, one that was just a bit too small. We've got like a Goldilocks situation going on here. We need one that's just right. So I got the little cogs working in my brain, and I thought, you know what might really work is a corner cabinet, because that will afford us just a bit more space in the bathroom, because let's face it, it's quite pokey. So I've been searching for a while now to just find a nice corner cabinet that would work, and this is what I found. It's like really old pine, so it's got a bit of age to it. This lovely man was selling it on Facebook. I think it'll work really nice. It just gives so much more room.
And how much did you pay for the little cabinet?
£20 British.
20 quid. That's a bargain. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it, because it's completely free. It's just the bottom right of the screen here. There should be a tiny little red thing, and you just click it, and it just helps support the channel really. It's completely free. If you want notifications of when we've got a new vlog up, I think there's a bell thing, and you click the bell, it will go off when we've got a new video up, so you'll always be kept up to date. Okay guys, thanks very much.
We will catch you on the next one.
Toodle pips.
Bye.